Patients almost never search the way that I think dentists think that they do. Like when they're on Google or they're on Facebook or whatever medium it is that they're using to find a dentist. And sometimes I think even marketers fall into this trap too. Hey everybody, it's Chris Pistorius with another episode of the No BS Dental Growth Podcast. You know, I was just on a trip. I got back from Actually, I've been all over the place in the month of July. I was in Miami for a week. I was in Tennessee for almost a week. And then I was in Mexico for almost a week. Most of that was for business, some of it on pleasure. But I was on one of my trips and somebody next to me, a total stranger, happened to be looking for a dentist. They were talking to one of their friends and they're like, man, I really need to find a new dentist. I guess I'll just go onto Google and find one. Essentially, of course, my ear was wide open, and then it obviously pertains to what we do here in our industry. And so I was very much paying attention to this because it was almost like a free marketing test for me to understand how people search. And you know, this is something I've known for a long time, and you know, it's something I've actually done a podcast on before. I'm probably a couple of them over the years. But have you ever noticed patients almost never search the way that I think dentists think that they do? Like when they're on Google or they're on Facebook or whatever medium it is that they're using to find a dentist. And sometimes I think even marketers fall into this trap too, because every day is kind of the same and, you know, we're studying the same things. And I think it just becomes kind of assumptive behavior versus actually knowing this and being reminded by it, I guess. Nobody opens up Google, right? And they type in something like, please help me find a decent priced dentist with great reviews and modern technology close to me. That's not how they're searching. It's just not how, you know, people are processing things. It's not how they're thinking. Instead, what they're doing, and that's exactly what this person next to me was doing, they were having some uncomfortable pain in their mouth. It wasn't terribly bad, but they were thinking along the lines of, why does my tooth hurt here? And of course, they weren't naming the number of the tooth. They were like lower right jaw, right? And so that got me thinking of, all right, so that's how people are searching. I knew this. I needed that reminder. People are typing in things like, why do my teeth hurt? You know? Why am I grinding my teeth? I'm scared of going to the dentist. How much does this or that or the other thing cost? They're talking to search engines now, which are all AI powered, AI assisted, right? Like they're talking to one of their friends or one of their colleagues, something like that. I think long gone are the days of dentist near me, 80138. You know, that's how search used to happen, you know, years ago. And so all the marketing people jumps on that and they're like, okay, well, we've got to optimize your website for dentists near me, blah, 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 blah. To some extent, that's still practical, but we're much more into a conversational type search atmosphere. And I think it's really important that we understand in our industry, whether you're a dentist or a provider or whatever you are, patients aren't searching for dentists at all, really. They're searching for a solution to their problem. Right. So in this situation, I'm sitting there and this person doesn't care about the dentist themselves per se. They just care about getting this fixed. They're not in pain anymore. They're searching for a solution. If we take a step back here, we can really understand that somewhat simple shift. It can completely change the way that you market your practice. And it can make it just a huge difference. For a long time, you know, dental marketing has looked almost identical from one office to the next. And part of that problem is that there's so many of these agencies out there. We are not one of them, but there's so many of them out there that they have these templates. They have these cookie cutter kind of set it and forget it type marketing services. We're like, okay, well, this is SEO. This is a general dentist in a mid-tier market. Let's just pull our, you know, mid-tier market general dentist template off the shelf. And that's the same campaign that we use for 100 other dental practices, right? And they're all going after the same types of keywords, dentist near me, cosmetic dentist in city, you know, whatever it might be. And they talk about, oh, okay, so how is this dentist different? Well, they're different because they have a friendly team. They have state-of-the-art technology. They are gentle, right? What does that even mean? They have a comfortable office. Everybody says the same things. And so when people go out to see these websites or these marketing campaigns, they visually see these things, everybody looks almost the same. And to a patient, then it just all starts blending together, right? And it just becomes kind of this bland, old 80s type of wallpaper, if you will. It's just, it's all just mixed in. Here's the thing. Patients don't care about your technology. They don't. They need to understand how that technology helps them in the moment. They don't care about a scanner, laser, CEREC machine. They care more about, how do I sleep without pain? How can I smile more in photos and it's not embarrassing? How can I chew corn on the cob or corn right off the cob? How's my laugh? That's what they care about. They don't buy dentistry. They buy a better life, a solution to their problem. And you can think about it like with implants. Nobody's going to wake up and say, man, I can go out and buy a dental implant today. They wake up thinking, man, I want to eat steak again. I'm tired of, hiding this smile. I'm embarrassed when I show my smile. That's what they're thinking. The implant's just simply the vehicle, right? It's going to get them to where they want to be. And the same thing with veneers or any high-end, type of cosmetic procedure. With veneers, they're not buying porcelain. They're buying confidence, first impressions, job interviews, things like that. The ability to be able to smile and to live without thinking about trying to hide something. Probably in the ortho world, maybe, in general. Invisalign. It's not about per se the clear aligners. It's about being confident in the mirror. For a kid, it's about seeing the future and knowing that they're going to have a good smile when they're adults. These are the things that parents in the ortho world, people want to buy. That's what they're looking for. I think another mistake I see a lot in marketing for dental practices, you guys spend a lot of time talking about yourselves. And to a degree, I agree with that thing. Like, for instance, serving the community for 20 years. That's something that you can definitely stick out. But I'm talking about more like the bland, like, our team is amazing, our office is beautiful. Technology, we just talked about that, cutting edge. That's all great, and I don't think you should stop mentioning it. But patients are asking when they get to your website or whatever they're looking at, can you really help me? Do I really trust you? Am I going to like you? Do I want to really get to know you? And I think that if your marketing answers those questions, I know, if they answer those questions and immediately, like, top of the fold on a website, people keep reading. And if it doesn't, they just move on. If it doesn't resonate with them in a few seconds, they'll just move on to the next one on the list. It's really easy for them, right? What we should probably learn here is that instead of describing your practice, I would go with, and what we really try to do here at KickStart is try to describe more the people that you help. Your specialty is helping patients who have avoided the dentist for 10, 20 years, something like that. Or maybe you're sedation dentist and you help the real anxious patients finally feel more comfortable about going to the dentist. Maybe it's like for you high-end full mouth rehab people. The before and afters are incredibly powerful. Being able to really show what the power of good full mouth rehab really looks like. Maybe you're the office that can, in an emergency situation, can get somebody out of pain today. I think that where we are now is that specific really always beats general. Specific type of examples of how you specifically can help somebody in that situation. So when you build out like a service page for emergency, keep that in mind on your website. That page should really be more specific about how to help that specific person that's looking for it. And something else that's changing is, people don't research things the way that they did before. Before they ever call your office now, they've already been on YouTube. They've been, reading reviews. They've been talking with ChatGPT, Claude. They've been looking at, Google AI overviews. They're pretty educated by the time they even call you, especially like searching symptoms. And by the time they get to you, they're probably scared and think they have, all these very serious things wrong with them, right? So a lot of the times, I guess the point here is that they've already kind of decided what kind of dentist that they want by the time they get to you. So if your marketing is simply should just be helping them decide that should be you, right? So I think it's another way to think about it. 10 years ago, it wasn't like this, but now they've done so much research. And there's so many tools out there now with AI to help them with this. They just come to you way more educated than they used to. I've done so many podcasts on reviews. The way you respond to those reviews can really help as well. I think a lot of us are stuck in, when I respond to a good review, I'm going to talk about my friendly staff and my great office. And, they talk about highly recommending. And those are nice, but they're not that memorable. We could almost coach our patients into saying, I avoided the dentist for 15 years because I was terrified. Or if they say something like, they completely changed how I feel about dentistry. Or like, for the first time in years, I can smile without feeling embarrassed. If we could get our patients to respond in those types of manners, that would help out so much as well. Not easy to do, but there are patients that we all have, that you all have, that are a little coachable with this kind of stuff. So I would highly recommend, trying to do that, because the reviews then kind of tell the story. They create emotion, and emotion creates trust with others. And then obviously, trust and knowing you and liking you will help you create a good paying patient that's going to stay with you for a long time. I think it's becoming even more important because AI is changing the search landscape. Google's changed, ChatGPT's changing every day, it seems like. Search engines are getting much better, I think, at, understanding intent. I think that means creating content around real patient questions. Real patient fears. The old trio is they don't come to the dentist because of time, fear, money. Maybe all three, right? I think we need to start when we write content and when we write copy for websites and we do ads in our marketing for paid ads, right? I think we need to start answering those fears in those ads and in that copy. And I think the more specific you can be about how you can do that, the better. And I think the practices that can do that are going to have a huge advantage in this new AI search world that we're living in now. And it's just getting stronger and stronger every month. I think that future really belongs to the practices that can answer those questions better than everybody else. One of the best things a practice can do is become known for something. Right? And that doesn't mean you stop doing general dentistry. It's just because people immediately associate with you solving a specific problem, right? So maybe it's smile makeovers, for instance, anxiety, TMJ, sleep, whatever it might be. People do remember specialists and problems. They don't remember general marketing messages entirely. But it's easy to do that because, for instance, at KickStart, when we do marketing campaigns, like paid ads on Google, we break them down into different campaigns. So we'll have an emergency campaign, an implant campaign, a general dentistry campaign, perhaps. And each one of those campaigns is built around those specific procedures or those specific services. Okay. And then we build a landing page specifically to that service. So when somebody clicks the ad, it's not just going to their website. It goes to a specific landing page. It's built to convert, only talking about how we help those particular types of patients. And we write all of our content in a matter of like what we just talked about. We're trying to describe the patient and get them out of pain, for instance, for an emergency, things like that. I think that's the way to go going forward, and it'll put you way ahead of the curve. So, and you can do this. I always give you guys homework. It's a simple exercise, on a spreadsheet or even on a piece of paper. Just make a couple of columns, write down every service you offer. And then in the second column, why someone actually wants to come to you for those services. And it's more like better sleep, less pain, better smile, looking younger, perhaps, feeling normal again, right? Now, and then look at your website. If your website mostly talks about the first column, you're talking about yourself. But if your website focuses on the second column, you're talking about your patients. And that's where the great marketing really begins. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought. I don't think that patients wake up wanting dentistry. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure of it. They wake up wanting a solution to their problem. Right? Confidence, comfort, out of pain, whatever it might be. And the practices that grow the fastest aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest marketing budgets. And they're definitely not the ones just doing templated, set it and forget it, cookie cutter marketing. They're going to be the ones that communicate the best with the most clarity, because clarity builds trust. If you can just really associate everything that we just talked about into one simple growth plan, into one simple marketing plan, I think that's going to put you miles ahead of your competition. Okay. So if you liked what you heard today, please subscribe. It'll notify you as soon as we drop a new podcast. We usually drop them every Thursday, at some point during the day, depending on how busy I get. But please subscribe, share this with somebody else that might be going through some of these issues as well. It can definitely help them, and it obviously can help us too. So I'd really appreciate it. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll make sure I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Dental Marketing Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.kickstartdental.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you are ready to grow your practice, then you might want to schedule a free strategy session with us. Just go to kickstartdental.com and click the free strategy session button and give us 15 minutes of your time to change your practice forever. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode. And thanks for listening to the Dental Marketing Podcast by Kickstart Dental Marketing, where dentists go to win online.